Hello and welcome to this webinar. I am thrilled to see so many people have joined. Close to 200 people have signed up for this webinar. I am Anders Sorensen. I am Sales Director of Umbraco and I'll be your host today. Luckily for you, I have a company of three beautiful people. Thomas, Anders, and Lee will be joining me, and luckily also they will be talking the most today. So in this webinar, you will meet these three gentlemen representing each of the three agencies utilizing Umbraco Cloud in very different ways. But central for all of these agencies is that they have made Umbraco Cloud a central part of their offering. All agencies has great experience with the feature set of Umbraco Cloud and has built many projects in the service. They have just recently been announced cloud powerhouses, and just to put a few words on that, we have over the last 18 months had an increased number of end clients asking about Umbraco Clouds and what agencies has documented experience with the service. So an Umbraco Cloud powerhouse is an agency of any partner status, registered, certified, or gold, that has official Umbraco training, has cloud certification, and at least 10 sites of experience built in the service. They have also, to keep the badge, they will be building at least 5 sites a year to maintain their experience. And this badge makes it a lot easier for end clients to identify the partner they are looking for. So in this webinar, we have at least entitled to have an audience if you are a business developer, an agency owner, or just want to be inspired on how to utilize Umbraco Cloud in your own business. This is the right place to be. If you're just curious on seeing one of these or each of these three and how they utilize Umbraco Cloud, it's also the place to be. So we've just put a small agenda for you. After this intro, I will stop talking and we'll meet the three agencies. So we'll meet Lee Austin from L33. Lee, please say hi and tell us where you are calling in from.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lee Austin. I'm the owner here at L33. Where I'm calling in from sunny Leeds in the United Kingdom today.
Pleasure to have you here, Lee. Anders Lynge from AKQA, where are you calling in from?
Yes, hello. Anders from AKQA. I'm calling in from Aarhus in Denmark.
Pleasure to have you. And Thomas from Innovo, where you
Hello, I'm also calling in from Aarhus, so I'm not that far from Anders here.
Oh, you could almost sit in the same room.
Yeah. Hi, Anders. Well, no, not really.
Good. Well, pleasure to have you here. So, ladies and gentlemen, over the next 45 minutes or so, we would like to inspire you with these three gentlemen telling each of their stories and how they tell their story. They will pretty much be just presenting themselves and their position and their agency, what the kind of agency they are, and then they'll share why they have chosen Umbraco Cloud to be part of their offerings and how they use it. We will likely also see a live site they've built in their service. First, before I will let the gentleman speak, I will just tell you a bit about the idea of Umbraco Cloud. So Umbraco Cloud was born back about 5 years ago, and the idea about the Umbraco Cloud was to make it easier to be an agency. So for this, I will just look at traditional projects like a round circle. So if you imagine the way that you build traditional web projects, then you would likely have Umbraco, the CMS, as the core part of every project. Now, around that, you would likely have some packages, some extensions. I see a lot of agencies has their own starter kits, foundations, a lot of names it could be, but things that the agency already always does when they build a project. But where you spend the most time as an agency building for the end clients is on the custom development. It's where you create the real value to your clients. It's where you make the website theirs. You build in the user journeys all the value that they get in the custom development. And this is also where you spend the most time, of course. But in this outer circle, there's also things like setting up hosting environments, setting up the different development environments, development, staging, and live. You have to download the latest version of Umbraco. You have to deploy stuff through the environments, that being files, media, even content, and database changes. Every time there's a new patch or a new version of Umbraco, you would have to download that from the website, and you will have to deploy that as well. And you would have to manage your certificates. And all of those things doesn't really create any value to your clients, but it's things that you have to handle, and it takes you time. So the idea about Umbraco Cloud was that we can't eliminate these things, but if we could automate some of these things, then we could free in time so you could spend more time on building beautiful websites for your clients. So just a little survey asking a lot of different agencies, how much time do you actually spend on these things? And it turns out that you would be able to free up 8 to 12% of the resources you spend on these things. So that's the idea about Umbraco Cloud, is that we would like to automate some of these things. I'm not going to deep dive into feature set in this webinar. We have a beautiful other webinar where you will be led through the workflow and all the feature sets. But just as an overview, we have partnered up with Microsoft Azure on Umbraco Cloud. It is powered by Umbraco Azure. It's managed hosting. It's fully content flow in Umbraco Deploy, which manages not only the deployment, but you can add, you can always also sync your contents from the live side down to the developer's personal computer. There's the TLS encryption automated, which is a great service and just a small thing that release resources for your developers. And then there's all the automated updates. So every second Tuesday, when there's a new patch to Umbraco, it will be automated patched to the development environment. And then there's the baseline flow that is quite good for specific sites, or you can use for your foundations and starter kits. I'm not going to talk a lot about these things in this, but instead, I would like to introduce you to Lee Austin. And Lee, you already said hi, but could you please tell us a bit about your position and your agency?
Certainly, thanks, Anders. So we are L33, a really small sort of boutique agency, I guess you'd say, based in the United Kingdom. We've got a team of 5 people in-house, and we sort of employ contractors and freelancers as and when need dictates. We've been working with Umbraco for around 6 years now, starting in version 6, and now working our way up to version 8. We do exclusive work in Umbraco. We won't touch anything else, and all our sites are now hosted inside the Umbraco Cloud. It's something we insist upon. We tend to do around 5 or 6 medium-sized sites every year. We don't want too many clients or too big a churn rate. We like to sort of create bespoke sites for every client. Each client gets a site that's unique to them, no templates and no reuse at all. So yeah, every site is like a bespoke boutique site just for the clients. Next slide, please, Anders.
Yep.
So why do we use the Umbraco Cloud? One, and reduces development time considerably. I'd say more than the 10 or 12% sort of mentioned previously. When I say development time, I mean the initial development time, but then also maintaining that hosting throughout the life of a website. So for example, with traditional hosting, you've got to apply patches, you've got, updates Tuesday every month where the website restarts, and you've got a bit of downtime there. If you've got a load balanced environments, in our experience, not always the most reliable of things. You've got some people seeing different version of the website. Umbraco Cloud reduces all that. So development time comes right down, which means we can offer better value to our clients. If we're spending less time with the hosting environment, we can pass that saving on to our clients. Resilience, far better. We're seeing 99.9 plus uptime for all our sites across the board. And the majority of that is down to the Umbraco Cloud environment. We occasionally have the updates, the security patches, those are done out of hours, quickly. The clients never sort of realize they've been done, which is a success. And the main reason we use this as a development team, it makes our lives easier. Everything from setting up a project, so from the initial creation of it, through to deployment, through to maintenance, everything is made easier. Here at L33, we're designers, we're developers, we drive traffic to websites. We don't have an internal IT team. We don't need one for the hosting. Umbraco takes care of all of that. Again, as it's backed by Microsoft Azure, that just all works flawlessly. So what we can do, we can reduce the costs, so our clients, again, getting better value, but also we spend more of our time doing more of the things that we love. So designing, developing. That's why we got into this game, and that's where the majority of our time is spent now.
So Lee, you've been working with Umbraco since version 6.
Yeah.
That's quite some years. How long have you been working with Umbraco Cloud?
Umbraco Cloud, probably, it started nearly 3 years ago. So 2.5 years we started introducing sites, smaller brochure style sites to begin with. And now we've migrated some really large websites away from other agencies, some of our previous clients away from a traditional sort of hosting into the cloud, and never regretted it for a second. That's why exclusively we host in Umbraco Cloud. We actually turn down work if a client insists on hosting it internally, just because it ends up costing them more, it takes more of our time. It's just more of a painful process. It becomes a no-brainer for the cost that you get and the service you get with Umbraco Cloud. It's more of a question, why wouldn't you, as to why would you?
Yeah. So you started with smaller sites 2.5 years ago. When did you decide to go all into cloud?
Probably about 2 years. So for 6 months we tried it. After 2 years, every new site that came on board went straight into cloud. Obviously starting with version 7, and now every site is version 8 in the cloud. That's our baseline, if you like. Backed up by that, we also store all the media inside the Azure Content Delivery Network, which I guess goes towards best practice standards devised by Umbraco. We use Cloudflare for the web firewall, for security. It's the little things that make a big difference. For example, I'm not having to worry about an SSL. It's included in Umbraco Cloud. We don't have to remember to renew it every year, install it. And, it's a small thing, but every year that takes an hour. If you've got 20, 30, 100 sites, that's 100 hours every year just installing an SSL certificate. That adds no value really. It just keeps the website up to date and secure going forwards.
Okay. So what do your developers think of using Umbraco Cloud today?
Yeah, they love it. Like I say, it allows us to focus on what we love, what we enjoy doing, which is the development. Have they always felt like that? I think first of all, there was a certain area of trepidation. It almost seemed too good to be true. The painful process we have migrating content from local to stage into live, migrating code changes up as well. those were all painful processes. And it almost seemed too good to be true when we first started using it. But now we've got into that process, when we occasionally have to go back and fix somebody else's website, it sort of feels like taking 10 steps backwards, going back into the dark ages of web development. So ingrained is it now that it just becomes second nature.
Okay, so one of the things that that I hear from developers is that they fear they lose control as they don't have access to the server, to the root, as you can imagine. Is that something that you have experienced with your dev team?
We've never had an opportunity where we couldn't get access to something we needed. There's always the tools, the command line tools you can fall back to if you need to, if you're comfortable with that. But in all honesty, you don't need to. I know some people like a bit of power over and a bit of control over everything. I think once you get into this mindset, you realize you just don't have to. It's just all taken care of. And if you ever need to, the option is always there. Okay.
Good.
Great. So next slide.
Yeah. That was just my, yeah.
Perfect. So this is an example of the cost savings and I guess putting things into tangible numbers as to why we use it. So we moved a UK police force. We developed the site probably about 5 years ago now, originally in Umbraco 7. It was in a traditional web farm solution, 4 web servers, 2 databases, and then the backups. Now, the costs of that were quite high. Resilience wasn't great. The load balancing didn't always work perfectly. We'd often have one server that's out of sync with the other ones. Again, going back to the SSL, if you've got a load balanced environment, you've got to install it on all 4 web farms at the same time. It's just a bit of a pain. So we migrated them to Umbraco Cloud, reduced their costs by 60%, which pleased them. The page load times reduced by 50%, so the website's cheaper, it's faster, and reliability went up to 99.98. That 0.2% is because of updates, security patches, things like that, even things like the domain not working correctly. So put it into context, they save money, better, more resilient website, and the page load times increased as well. So again, it's a bit of a no-brainer with this, and putting that into context, it really helps sell it to our clients.
Lee, I have a question here that how do you recharge to your client, and maybe we should do you have a service level agreement where you patch in everything in your projects, including Umbraco Cloud, or how do you just make them clients directly with Umbraco, or how do you do it?
So generally we would manage everything for the client. So the hosting, the content delivery network, the firewall. It's not as simple as just the hosting in Umbraco Cloud. There's a lot of other areas that go around that, also the source control, like you mentioned then, service level agreements. So we don't put anyone on top of the Umbraco sort of cloud service, but the other services that sit around that pad it out a little bit.
Full package.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got some good packages that we offer clients, offer real good value for money, but the clients generally like us to manage everything for them. So one-stop shop, they have 1 monthly payment, covers their support, covers their SLA, covers their hosting, and that's it. They don't then have to worry about it.
Okay. Do you tell them that it is running on Umbraco Cloud, or is it something you use in your pitch, or is it just something that is there?
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, we always put it in the pitch. We always tell the clients the service is running on. We're very transparent about these things. Clients don't always understand or care. To be frank, they just want to know that their website works, how much it costs, is it going to work for me? Fine, host it wherever you like. Yeah. They don't need to know the technicalities of it. Those that do, where it's a larger client and they've got internal IT teams, it's the IT team that needs to know more details. You know, is it secure? Where is it hosted? Is it in Western Europe? It's one we often get asked with all the GDPR compliance. How resilient is it? Does an SSL included? These are the general questions we get. How much traffic can it handle? The answer to that usually is more than enough. We've never seen a point at which a website has slowed down. And going back to the police force website, at certain times they could get 120,000 visitors an hour if there's a major incident. The Umbraco cloud service scaled up and took care of it. And then later on, came back down. There was never any point at which the website slowed down, even with those extreme levels of traffic. And that was, just back that up, that was in a pro plan rather than a standard plan. So just the off-the-shelf pro plan, Cloudflare, Azure Content Delivery Network. That was pretty much the entire hosting sort of solution.
Nice.
So I guess the last point that I'm going to make is that the Umbraco Cloud isn't just for websites. So we've built our own mobile app, Fitain, that's a web store now. Feel free to download it, everybody. That's for connecting fitness professionals with clients. Now, to get this to market quickly, we built it off the Umbraco Cloud platform. So immediately we've got membership there, we've got good hosting, we've got APIs. So immediately a third of the work is already done out of the box. So within an hour, we've got that big chunk of work. We then build on top of that. The hosting can then scale with the app. So what we're doing, and the plan is to make the app ginormous, make us all millionaires. But the idea is that that can grow with us as the app gets bigger and more popular. And it's all handled. What would have been a big headache is now solved. So again, to get us to market, we got there quicker, save money, save resources, perfect solution for us.
Thank you, Lee. Thanks for sharing.
Pleasure.
So next up is Anders from AKQA. Anders, please present yourself, what you're doing at AKQA, and a few words on your agency. I'm sorry that I think in the invitation we mentioned you were just a Danish agency, but that's not quite right, is it?
Not quite anymore. We were back in the days. A few years ago, we joined the AKQA network. So now it's more of a global shop now. We have 2,400 employees all across the globe. We do a lot of stuff. We don't do everything in Umbraco. We have multiple platforms. We do projects without platforms. You name it. We do technology, strategy, user experience, creative, analytics, and so on.
So you actually have a lot of insights in various platforms and CMSs.
Yeah, we have. If we switch to Denmark, which is the thing I know the most about, we are about 140 people. We are in Aarhus and Copenhagen, and we do a lot of builds on CMS platforms. We use Umbraco, of course, a lot. We use some of the other big platforms. Let's not go there. And we do standalone builds, just some .NET Core project running on a server with a headless front end or something like that. So we get around. When we have a lot of different platforms, we also help the client decide what platform is right for them. And that's usually where I enter a project. When we know a bit about the requirements, what they would like to have and what they need to have. And then we start talking about, okay, what project can cover that solution the best. Yeah, we call it platform selection. We also, I need to mention that we work for a lot of big brands, of course. If you switch to a slide, you can see some of them. Some have platform builds, some have just standalone solutions, and so on. I think there's even a slide more with that. So the project I would mostly like to talk about today is something we built for another Danish or international company called Covi. So we don't have one solution, but we started talking with the customers and started to list the requirements. And what we quickly saw was that they needed a lot of the things that are in Umbraco Cloud. They need to create more than 30 sites. I actually think it was 55 at some point in time, sites based on pretty much the same template. So they needed a lot of shared functionality, a lot of shared layout, not design, but the overall layout. And they needed to quickly be able to update that functionality and that layout if it changed. And to create those instances without us getting involved. So they need to be able to pretty much point and click, create an instance and onboard a new end customer. So we're actually building a solution for the customers.
It's part of their project products today that they sell.
Exactly. So we are actually building to the next level customer, not directly to our customer. So all of this, the creation of new instances, the need to update along the line, use baseline project and so on, pretty much led us in the direction of Umbraco Cloud. I've been building things on Umbraco since 2011. I just backtracked. I think it was 4.3 or something. Those were the days. More old school design of a backend. So the customer, of course, is rather technical as well, and joined that software selection rather extensively. And we quickly agreed that Umbraco Cloud solved all the things they needed. Yeah.
So should we take a look at the project? I know you shared a link with me.
Yeah, we are just about finishing up, so I really hope the link works. I think it does. Yeah. So it's the project is building. Oh, let me see, the district plans and the municipality plans for municipalities around Denmark. So you need to be able to search for your address and see, okay, which plans are present for me? What do I need to know if I want to build another house or extend the existing one and so on? So if you search like 114 in the address field, just take the top hit. So you can see, okay, this is the address. If you click it, you can see exactly what plans are present for me that I need to adhere to if I want to build or anything. Perhaps you need to scroll, actually. No? Could you just click the small red icon? That's your address.
Yeah.
You can? Okay, but you got a list of the plans that are present. And the system is built to make it easier for the planners in the municipality to actually enter those plans. They need to enter a lot of data. So we twisted the back office around and made it into a planner tool instead of a web application tool.
So this project, it looks like it contains a lot of integrations with some backend systems.
Yeah, there's the map you're looking at is another system, and then all the data about the plans needs to be fed into a public system. By law, they need to be fed into that system. So everything the planner enters into the Umbraco backend gets integrated into another system once they publish it. And then the tool helps them make sure that all the deadlines that are to be enforced by law are actually being enforced. So you cannot make a plan without actually having an 8-week period of hearing where the public can enter questions and comments on the plan and so on and so on. So we are moving quite a bit beyond a regular website and made it into a tool. So they get about 30 instances based on the same baseline, and once we build new functionality, we can update it on the master, and then again on a test environment, and then roll it out to all the instances.
So is that one of the main benefits that you see on Umbraco Cloud, is that you can work on a baseline and you can push out changes to all the child sites?
Yeah, we've been doing something like that for other projects without Umbraco Cloud, but then we always end up with the content, the actual content, because of course we can deploy the same technical solution, the same code to a lot of different environments, but the content flow was really a feature that is really helpful. So we can take the live content, roll it back to a test server with point and click, try to upgrade it, verify that it works, and then roll it out to all the live instances. So
working with integrations in Umbraco Cloud, do you see any limits in this, Anders?
You need to know about the IP addresses that can change potentially. that's really something. Most of the integrations, both to the public systems, and we have a few other extension points. So you need to be careful that you can't just assume that the IP address of the server will stay the same. But other than that, it kind of just worked actually.
Is there a difference, as you see it, working in Umbraco Cloud and then working on premise, where you have root access?
Of course, there's a lot of differences, but for the most part, we haven't really missed anything debugging wise, or why is it doing some specific feature. So no, not really.
Okay. I know that that you are not the one, Anders, working directly with it. You are not developing much more.
Nope.
How do your developers think of Umbraco Cloud working with it?
They really like it. Of course, there's always with any system there's like ups and downs, but it's by far the most ups with Umbraco Cloud. We have sites running on Azure just as a web app as well, and we always start an Umbraco project by trying to make it Umbraco Cloud if there's any chance. So
okay, let me just see here.
We do. So you asked me how our workflow is set up earlier, and we do things a bit differently than what is the standard on your documentation. The Umbraco as a service command line, we are not really using that, mainly because we need to build a front-end project separately and then push it into the website. So we have our own source control set up, and then we use AppWare to pull from Umbraco, merge changes, build the front-end backend, and then deploy it by using Umbraco deploy in our pipeline. So that works really well for us with but of course it's a bit more manual setup. So, but in this project we needed to create a lot of instances on the same project, so it was worth it. Then we have our own command line tool called Sync with Umbraco Cloud, so we can enable new developers to onboard the project pretty quickly. So then we get users and so on synced.
So you've been along with the both Umbraco, of course, for many years, but now we are specifically talking about Umbraco Cloud. Have you seen a development over this time, improving the service, especially over the last year or two?
Yeah, I think we started like 2 years ago or something, building the first sites. And I think it's really gotten a lot more stable. We are hosting a lot of live environments now, and I have no problem with that. It's been stable the last long period of time, performant. So,
right.
Yeah, if you tried it like 5 years ago or 3 years ago, you should try it again.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So Gavin is asking, is Umbraco Cloud suitable for situations where either Umbraco or Forms has been extended or customized in, when you extend the CMS, customize things? Is that?
We've been extending and customizing and building a top of and changing things around and so on. So yes, definitely. No problem.
Is there? Can you share with us if there was one thing about Umbraco Cloud or something, if you wanted to start out, a thing that you would like to know about Umbraco Cloud before you started, that you want to share with the audience?
Yes, I'm not sure if it's our custom workflow or others are having the same problem as well, but you should definitely try to change document types rather carefully, because we get a lot of schema mismatch if you change document type in the cloud and locally and trying to merge later on and so on. So so we have that problem. I don't know if anybody else has it, but yeah. Try to focus on that. Change only document types locally if you develop on several developers. And then make sure to pull the remote branch before you change the document type. That's really low practical, but really important.
Yeah, you have to know your workflow in Umbraco Cloud. True. Yeah. So I know that you are your main developer on the cloud, Lasse,
Yeah.
will be talking at Code Garden.
Yes, this is not me. This is my colleague Lasse, and he has a session at Code Garden. And I promised him not to say a deep dive into the solution because he doesn't think he can do that in 45 minutes. But a very technical introduction into how we built the backend, changing it from a web platform into a planning platform, did the integration, how we set up the workflow. So if you want to know more, you should go see Lasse at Code Garden.
And that is actually this specific project that we've been talking about.
Yes.
At Kobe.
Yes, this is based on this project.
Yes. Thank you for sharing, Anders. So up next, we have Thomas from Innovo. Thomas, please
Hi.
say hi. Tell us who you are, your position at Innovo, and what kind of agency Innovo is.
Yeah, well, Innovo, we have a mission on making advanced marketing tools available and accessible. And just to give a quick point on that, I've been personally worked with Umbraco for a lot of years. I think maybe even I have the record on the speakers today because I've been toying with it since one of the latest 3 and the early versions 4. And so I've been in the Umbraco community for quite a while. And fun fact, I just tried to find something fun to say. And actually regarding this Umbraco Cloud, when you do a local pull of the repository from the cloud environment, there's an image in the background with some peoples in the couches. And I noticed that the image was actually, at one time I almost spilled my coffee because I saw that the image was from I think day number 2 or 3 at a Code Garden, where we might have had a beer or two too many the night before. So that's me on the couch laying almost dead. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I really love Umbraco and the cloud as well. Like the Code Garden is really, I can only give a thumbs up from here that's the event of the year, and I can only say if you're not joining then please do.
Thank you.
Well, today I'm the technical responsible here in Innovo and the co-founder as well. And as I told, we have a mission on making the modern marketing tools much more accessible to marketing departments, because it's an area that's really exploding right now with a lot of tools. So when we started out, we really we had a focus on marketing automation. That was kind of the new software category, the new kid in class. So we started with that the first couple of years and started developing competences around that and implemented that on a lot of clients. And so actually the first couple of years, we didn't really do any website, well, at least not officially. So it wasn't like something we really offered to new clients. So, but after a couple of years, we found out that, the website's not dead, even though Facebook and LinkedIn and a lot of other marketing channels are very much active. It is difficult to do a very good digital setup without kind of owning the website as well. So we did a strategy, and I think a bit different than the 2 other speakers today, because instead of going after the high-end market, we actually are going after the middle to the low middle end of the market, at least implementation-wise. We're not really going for big solutions, because we really want we have a kind of an ecosystem, which I'll talk about in a minute. So the website is one part of the ecosystem. So we are actually trying to improve our process a lot, making it quickly and efficient to launch new websites and to build out functionality that we can reuse. So that's how we got started, and I got back into Umbraco, which I've worked with so many years, and I really loved the platform. And yeah, that's how we started working with Umbraco again, and also the cloud. If you can see the next slide, and this is this is just a couple of comments on what we did. We did like a concept called Innovo where we do marketing automation as a kind of, you say, the core, but we build websites on top of that, and we combine them with the CRM of choice from the different clients. But that is actually kind of what we started doing. Instead of only focusing on the marketing automation, we deliver the complete ecosystem where we tie everything together.
So Thomas, this is actually a kind of where you white label Umbraco Cloud into your own project or product, I guess.
Yeah, you can say that. Well, actually, as we started using, like I've been working a couple of years, many years in other companies with the technical responsible as well, where we had quite some big legacy infrastructure. But because we kind of started from scratch again, a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, we also started out doing the website part as a central part of our delivery. We kind of got the possibilities to start from scratch with no build servers, no internal infrastructure, no server infrastructure, and the whole company we have is built on SaaS products. So we only kind of do browser-based software. And so the marketing automation platforms, all marketing automation platforms is kind of cloud hosted, like almost exclusively SaaS software, and a lot of CRM are as well. So it was only natural to have the SaaS version of Umbraco as well. So we don't have like everything else is cloud-based, and it just seemed natural to do Umbraco Cloud as well. And none of this is really something we discuss with our clients, to be honest.
They buy a product from you that you call this, and then you just tie this in together, different SaaS services.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And is it the same services always? Well, it's Umbraco Cloud, I know that from previous discussions. But the other parts, do you pick and mix?
We do mix them at times. So we have a standard way to do it, but we do as the market for marketing automation is not as mature as the CMS market. We see a lot of differentiation in the different products. We see a lot of development, and we see a lot of changes like all the time. So one product is the best in one month, and then a couple of months later we have new products that we need to look into. So we do change based on client needs, but and CRM is also typically if the client have a CRM beforehand, we do of course integration to that. Other than that, we have different CRM systems that's also cloud-based that we pick with the client. So
how do you think of the integrations? I mean, it's from one SaaS product to another. Is it easy, or how do you see that?
I do think it's quite easy, to be honest. Like most of the time we do form integration. We either do we have 3 options. We do implementation of the native forms that's in the marketing automation platform, or we do a form scanner where we kind of do a man in the middle JavaScript scan of the form. Or my preferred way to do it is by webhook and using Zapier, because it's technically more beautiful, I think, and it's much more fault tolerant, and you can redo the integrations and stuff like that. And that's, I think with webhooks it's quite easy to integrate different systems. So I think when you've done it a couple of times, the integrations are quite good, and then you have like Zapier as the universal tape, you can say, that's just tying everything together, and that fixes most of the part. It's actually quite rare that we need to do custom integrations.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
What's the wrong way?
Yes. I think that's kind of what we try to achieve, and that's why we chose Umbraco. So there's not really anything to. It's not something we talk with the clients about. It's just we say that's part of the package, and then we can do a quick delivery.
And I guess there's even clients that don't know that they are running on Umbraco Cloud.
Yeah. It's not like, yeah.
When I looked at your website, looking at this product you have, I actually had to deep dive a little bit to see that it was powered by Umbraco Cloud.
Yeah. It's not something we do much advertising for right now. I think we could do it a bit more, but as I talked with you about, the Umbraco Cloud is very good for us as an agency, and what the clients understand is also what Lee said, like it's the included SSL, so we don't need to go buy certificates, and that's kind of SEO optimized with the SSL certificate, and then they understand that it's automatically patched with security patches. That's what the clients understand. So that's what we're selling them, and that's part of the hosting.
Yeah.
But they don't. I never really have any discussions with the clients about that part of the setup. Well, other than that, it's where we are right now. It's as I said, we have no IT setup, so that's just plugging right into our way of working with these SaaS products. And then because we have I think much more of a higher volume than Anders and Lee told us about, we really need to, every time we find something that is, something that we need to fix on a client, and we can see this is going to be fixed all the time, like let's say redirects. There's some nice packages for redirects. Then we can implement that on the baseline. Then it's always on new clients. So we tend to build on our baseline product with all deliveries. So we actually in our delivery process have a point in our project plan to identify what to improve in the baseline. So that's how we work. So always improving in the baseline, and we've been working with this for coming up to 2 years now. So we've had some work on converting this to Umbraco 8, but we're almost finished now with the improvements that's in the 8 as well. And then we try to always not repeat ourselves, and make sure we always improve on everything we do.
So what I hear from you, Thomas, is that the biggest takeaways from Umbraco Cloud is that you don't have to have any IT setup, and the speed of creating new sites by the baseline is very valuable.
Yeah, that's what we use a lot. And then the administration, of course, it's easy to get an overview, and I think the feature you just launched with the teams is really something we wanted to have in a long time. And also we work with external partners as well. So that is just it is very good for us in our work that everything is in Git to begin with. So there's always a way to roll back changes, and also a way to trace what have been done by who.
Great.
Yeah.
So thank you, Thomas, for sharing about this. So a question maybe for all of you. I know there's Anders, you mentioned something about schema mismatch. You've all been around. How is it working with the Umbraco support when you are in the cloud? Have you any experience with that? Oh, I know you do.
Now I have the mic, so I can start, and then Anders can join as well. Like I can only say that when you've been working with Umbraco for so many years as I have, I will say it's really a great improvement. And if you've been trying to use the support before and haven't in a while, I would say it's totally on top with other SaaS software we use, where the support is also high, but it's quick support. I use the chat, and if it's not 2 o'clock at night, then I would say the support is quickly and swift, and I can't remember anything I've asked that I didn't get help for.
Oh, thank you, Thomas. Anders?
Yeah, I can second that. It's by far one of the better experiences we have with any CMS platform and basically products that we are using. It's really quick, good answers, good follow-up later on if the answer was actually solved. So yeah, really impressed.
Thank you. Lee, have you worked with the support?
Yeah, we've used the chat quite a lot. But we've also had certain issues that we've had to escalate to the development team. And to be fair, you handled really well. A quick response time, quick turnaround. A couple of times we've had sort of online chats like this with a developer, try and get to the bottom of something that's, really caused issues. It's not on the forums, it's not in the support of the normal chat. But when you need to do that, the guys are always there, and yeah, it's always been a great and effective service. Very happy.
So last question for all of you, 3 guys, starting with Thomas. Is there any good advice that you would bring on to someone that is looking into Umbraco Cloud, where to get started or what to know?
Yeah, let me think. Well, it took me just a bit of time to wrap my head around the Git repository. Wait, it's done because the Git repository is only used for deployment. So that's just something you need to know. So it's not if you do development in Git and maybe use GitHub or Microsoft's Git stash, then yeah, which is also GitHub now, but then you need to know you have a development Git repository, and then you do your normally builds, and then you actually do your build files into the Git repository, which is the Umbraco Cloud Git repository, and then you do a push from there to actually do the deployment. And maybe it's obvious for everybody else, but it wasn't for me, at least, to begin with.
Thanks for sharing, Thomas. Anders, do you have an advice or a tip?
Yeah, besides the document types, I really think you should definitely try it out, get to work with it, discover the ease of deployment once you wrap your head around it, and get the customer into it as well. Yeah, and go see a talk, check out the online documentation, the videos, the things on print. Do that.
Thank you. And Lee?
Yeah, I think Thomas Anders, they've sort of covered quite a lot of it. Get your toolbox of other supporting software in place, follow the workflows, especially the doc types. We've all been stung by that one. I think one advice I'd give is do one of the certification courses, the Start with Umbraco course. I think we've been using cloud for about 18 months before we all internally took the course. And even though we thought we were experts in Umbraco Cloud, we had a workflow all sorted, taking the course really, in a way, part reinforced what we're doing was right, but also we learned so many tricks that made things easier. And we've been going the long way about stuff. But when we did the course, we thought, oh, well, that's a lot easier. I've been doing that all along. So I would say it's definitely worth the investment for developers coming onto Umbraco Cloud. Take the course. You'll get such a head start with that. You will avoid a lot of the issues that I'm sure myself, Thomas Anders have all fallen, foul upon in the early days.
Thank you. So last thing that I just want to share with you is that if you want to get started with Umbraco Cloud, is that you can go to our website, umbraco.com. You can sign up directly for a 14 days trial from the main site, the front page. Or you can scroll down just a bit and you can actually see here You can watch the free live webinar. There is actually two offerings. There's a CMS webinar, and there is the Umbraco Cloud webinar in here. There's also a bunch on different things in this website, a bunch of resources, different things that you can pick up on. So last thing that I just want to say is thank you very much to the three gentlemen, Thomas, Anders, and Lee, for joining. I haven't on purpose didn't promise them anything for attending this, so I haven't bribed them or anything on this at all. This session will be available on demand. It is recorded, so you will be able to share it. Thank you very much to all. I hope you enjoyed and hope you get a good head start with the Umbraco Cloud. Thank you.